We're 5 weeks away, I should say, from this being a Warriors Wednesday. But it's not quite yet. Media Day, October 2nd. Good morning to everybody out there getting off the graveyard shift. If you're at work, what is happening? All you students, all you teachers, cops, firefighters, janitors, plumbers, garbage men, U.S. Postal Service, teachers, principals, all of you. Good morning to you. Good morning to YouTube, Twitch, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Good morning to the Xfinity Mobile Text Line. Good morning to all the callers out there, everybody out there on the roadways. We're going to get to Dave Flemming in just a second. Good morning to Sterling Bennett. It's on the board doing a great job. Sam Lubman, who's doing his thing. Shasky, myself. Look, it's Niners and Giants tomorrow night. We get it. Niners have a chance to go to 3-0. Oh. Gets the New York Giants.
And get a little bit of a physical break.
No doubt. And then you play Arizona, which should be a gimme game.
Divisional.
That division game will be different. Arizona's not on their level. Come on, Shasky. But we're going to go back to talk about the Giants, and we talked about them for the first hour, and there was a lot of frustration. I think Dave Flemming can understand it. He's the voice of the Giants, of course, the voice of college football. ESPN does a lot. And we'll get into some college football things because the Pac-12 has 8 ranked teams in the top 25. Go figure.
8?
8 top 25 teams.
It's more teams than they're going to have in their division next year.
Yeah, and then I believe this week it's Oregon, Colorado, Oregon State, Washington State in a sneaky good game.
Washington State's good this year.
Yeah, Oregon State's tough too. That'd be a good game, but we got to talk about what we saw last night and what we see since the All-Star break, and that's the disappointing San Francisco Giants, who are basically fading away in this wild card race. And Dave Flemming, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us as always, every single week. You've been patient with us. And look, man, we're frustrated. We're frustrated with the regime. We're frustrated with some of the quotes before the season. We're frustrated with the way things are playing out here. For you, since the All-Star break, what has been the most frustrating aspect of this baseball team? And again, good morning, Flip.
Good morning. I don't know. That's hard. Everything's frustrating when it's going as poorly as it is now. I mean, I really don't understand the road collapse. You know, the Giants were a good road team for most of this year, for a lot of this year. And now it's just like they can't, it's not even close. And I don't get that. I don't know what's changed. They're still a good, competitive, feisty team at home. And I don't know. I mean, maybe that's just pure coincidence, but I really just don't understand it. It's gone on for so long now that, what are they, 5-24?
Something like, I saw something where they won 4 road games since like July 18th or something crazy like that, which is insane.
I mean, think about that.
That's insane.
It's late September. So I don't know how you explain that, but that is definitely frustrating. I mean, so there's lots of specifics that go into that, but I just, they were rolling on the road. I mean, remember they had that road trip where they just blitzed everybody to go to L.A. and sweep the Dodgers, and that feels like a long time ago.
Yeah, 5 road wins, Shasky, since July 18th. Wow.
It feels like a pick your poison, like frustration morning, because the errors, that play at third base, like with the ball popping out of Wilmer's glove, and then the whole thing was so bad. And the juxtaposition of Arizona's speed versus your lack of speed, it was just really bad. But, like, I'm looking at the starting pitching as well. Like, heading into the year, starting pitching, we're deep. We're 5, 6, 7 deep. They're 27-45 this year as starters. That's been very disappointing as well. And it looks like Cobb might be, I don't know if he's done for the year. There's only a handful of games, but feels like, he's clearly not right.
Yeah, he's not. And I would think he's probably done for the year. I mean, nobody told me that, but you watch that last night and you just think that that's probably enough for him. And I give Alex Cobb a ton of credit for trying to gut it out. Obviously, things are not right physically with him, and he's trying. He's told him, I want to pitch. I don't want to go on the injured list. So I give Alex credit for hanging in there and at least trying to gut it out. Obviously, he wasn't himself last night. So you know what? You're probably right. Like, if you take a step back and go big picture, what's the most disappointing thing? I think it's probably no question the starting pitching. Because because truly they did think that was going to be a big-time strength of this team, and obviously it hasn't been. Logan Webb's pitched great. Alex Cobb's had a good, solid year, and they have not, whether it's, you can blame a lot of things, and I think it's fair to question the plan that they laid out to map out their way through the full season. Obviously, that has not worked. I don't think they would dispute that. So the whole starting pitching, when you looked at this team at the beginning of the year, you didn't think it was going to lead the league in runs. You thought it was going to be a competitive offense, but you didn't think it was going to lead the league in runs. But I at least thought, they have a chance to be one of the best pitching staffs in baseball. And they were for a time, but it hasn't sustained, and that is pretty disappointing. It is.
What's the biggest change you want to see here, Flem? You hinted at some changes last week. That changes needed to be made. Now, for me personally, you don't have to follow me on this one. I'm not going to put you in that position, Flem, but a regime change for me. I've been checked out with the style of play, with the platooning, and just getting guys here. And sure, they found something in Patrick Bailey, but the inconsistency with lineups and starters and openers, and you've seen players voice their frustrations, and then you got the Phantom Eye. You got all this noise. What is the biggest change you want to see here going into next season?
There has been more noise lately, which is interesting because, it's a pretty cohesive group. It's a group that has prided itself on sort of team effort and everybody pulling in the same direction. And I think that's something they'll have to think about at the end of the year. Like, why did that stuff start to happen? I don't know. It's obvious what the Giants need. I mean, they really need core position player, anchor players. Mm-hmm. That doesn't necessarily mean, that has to be superstar level players, but I think it's very obvious that the Giants need a group of everyday position players they can lean on, play a lot, count on every day. That is missing big time. And there just isn't an example of a team out there that's a good team that doesn't have that.
Right.
So look, I appreciate what the Giants have tried to do these last few years. I do. Like, they're trying to get the minor league system up to speed, get some of these young guys here, find that core internally while also not just having a terrible team. So you sign Conforto, you sign Haniger, you sign Stripling, these all guys designed to help you have a better competitive team, playoff caliber team while you do that other thing. And so I appreciate that, but I do think, they are going to have to ask some hard questions about whether that kicking the can down the road strategy of let's try to do both has inhibited them from really doing either.
Yeah.
They are, in a way, caught in between right now. And I understand why it's happened. And I think, it's hard to dispute the fact that they have been a contending team all of these seasons. 2020, 21, 22, 23. There's only 1 year where you thought, gosh, they're gonna win it all. They have a chance to win it all. But there's also the fact that they have hung in there and contended through all of this stuff. Like, a lot of good things have happened for this franchise, but I do think there is a point. Like, you don't want that to be your strategy forever. And when do you flip the switch and decide that, okay, we're ready to pivot into a different era of team building? And I think that's a question they're going to have to ask.
Yeah. You're talking about everyday players. Brandon Crawford's been an everyday player for 13 years for this team. I think he's the greatest shortstop in San Francisco Giants history. I don't know how many people would have pushback on that, whether it's, just his longevity, his resume, his winning at the highest level, his Gold Glove. He's been one of the most clutch players in franchise history in the last 40 years. Are these the final 11 games for him?
I hope nobody pushes back on that, by the way. I think he's the greatest shortstop the Giants have ever had, ever.
Yeah.
He's had an amazing career. He has been a foundational player, that type of player that we're all talking about right now.
Right.
He's been that guy for them. I think there's a definite chance. It's awkward because you don't want to you don't want to retire a guy without him saying it. But there is a chance that it's the last couple weeks that he'll wear a Giants uniform. I sure hope this last homestand. I think fans have been doing it, all throughout this season. But just in case, I hope Giants fans just shower him over the last homestand, because it is possible. They have a really talented young shortstop that if we're going to back all this stuff that we're talking about, like it's time to, commit to some younger players. It's time to have, maybe a different mindset at the start of the year with some of these young guys. They have a really talented young shortstop. We only got a short glimpse of him in the big league this year, but even that short glimpse was enticing. It was like, okay, that guy looks the part. So it's going to be a hard decision. I don't think anybody's ruled anything out. I sure find it hard to picture Brandon wearing a different uniform. I mean, that just seems really would be really strange to me, and I think to him too. But it's possible this is it for him.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because the injuries this year has really caught up to him. It's kind of compromised his range in the field, and of course his bat. It's been a little slow this year, but it's been a great career for him as a Giant, man. Overachiever, no doubt about that. Dave Flemming here on the Morning Rush on 95.7 The Game. We'll get you out of here with a couple quick ones on college football. Obviously, Colorado's been the talk of the nation. They beat Colorado State. Now they go to Oregon to take on the Ducks, who are 21-point favorites. Stanford losing to Sacramento State. That's the one low light in the Pac-12 this season. Watching them lose to the Sac State Hornets, of course. But what's been the biggest thing for you in the Pac-12? Like, have you been surprised by the level of play in the Pac-12 this season? And what will be the last season of the Pac-12 that we know with USC and UCLA and Washington and all those schools?
Well, just to defend Stanford, Arizona State did turn it over 8 times and got shut out at home by Fresno State.
Yeah, let's start that.
Wasn't the only one.
Forgot about them.
Not alone.
Wait, you sure they're not in the Big 12 yet? I forgot about Arizona State.
It's been a really great year for the Pac-12 so far. Great year. Amazing. We were doing a list because I'm going up to. I have Cal Washington this weekend up in Seattle. And so Michael Penix is just, I don't know if people know about him, quarterback for Washington, but good Lord, was he just lighting it up. He had 375 yards and 4 touchdowns in the first half on the road at Michigan State last week. Not Sacramento State, no offense to the Hornets, but at Michigan State last year and last week. And so we were coming up with a list of, like, who are the Heisman contenders right now? Who are the best players in the country? And of the list we sort of quickly came up with, 4 of the 6 were Pac-12 quarterbacks. So it's like really, truly the best players in the country right now are out west. Pretty remarkable thing. Great year for the Pac-12. I think it'll continue to be. The Pac-12 will, in pure Pac-12 fashion, go out in a blaze of glory and probably cannibalize itself, because that's just what they've done over the years. So it's going to be really hard to run the table in this league, but a lot of good teams, a lot of great quarterback play. And that's, in that sport, so much of it in that sport is geared to quarterback play, and that's what the league has.
Nah, it's been a fun year of college football so far, especially out west. We'll see what happens in the SEC. Georgia looks like it's their conference to lose. Flip, where are you going to be at this week before we let you go?
I mean,
you say Washington. You just said Seattle, Cal.
Did you see the rating for the Colorado game?
Oh, yeah, almost 10 million.
People were saying it's the highest rated late night sporting event of all time.
Wow. So
I'm not surprised.
That started that late or later. It's the most watched game in television history.
Flip, I was in L.A. Saturday night. I went down to the Rams-Niners game, but I was in L.A. Saturday night at a hookah bar, and I had the game on in my phone, and waiters are coming around. Hey, what's the score? What's the score? Is the Buffaloes come back yet? What's going on? I was on my phone watching the whole guy. It was like 5 other people doing the same thing.
Is that amazing or what? Yes. I mean, I just find that it's unbelievable how this one guy has turned that team into something that everybody in the country, who cares? Like, nobody cares about Colorado football outside of Colorado.
Right.
And the whole country is talking about that team. It's pretty amazing testimony to the power of one guy.
Let me ask you, You think it's sustainable? I do think it is, but what do you think? Because what he's doing there is he's doing it differently, and he's rubbing people the wrong way with the way he's going about his business. But it seems genuine to Deion Sanders that he does care for those kids, and he wants the best for those kids, and that's what means the most to me about the whole situation.
Yeah, why wouldn't it be? I mean, why couldn't he do this every year? Even if he turns over, he's obviously proven that with a brand new team, he can get everybody in 30 days or whatever you have in fall camp. He can get everybody on the same page. They're a well-coached team. They don't commit a ton of mistakes. Like, they look like they know what they're doing. And I would think next year they'd have a chance to have more talent. Who doesn't want to come right now to play for Deion?
Yeah,
like, I think every good transfer in the country is going to be calling him, at least seeing what the opportunity is. So, yeah, I think he could keep it going. So much of coaching is getting that buy-in and belief, and he's got it, man. Those kids want to play for him.
No doubt. I wish Travis Hunter was playing this Saturday in Eugene, Oregon, man. That would have been a lot of fun. Flem, take care. We'll talk to you next Wednesday, and we'll see where the Giants are at by the time you come back onto the show.
You're welcome. Yeah, look, I understand the frustration for everybody, and I'm frustrated. You got to at least try these last few games to appreciate they're still pulling hard. They're still trying. I know it doesn't look great on the field right now. Everybody's still trying until they're eliminated. They're still trying. So hopefully we can all appreciate that. These guys, not like these guys don't care about it. They do. It's just not going well.
Absolutely. All right, Flip, take care,
Thanks,
buddy.
Dave.
Talk to you guys soon.
All right. He's going to go up to Seattle and see Penix Jr.
Couple things. You referenced the Deion thing. I've got my 4-down territory about college football.
Can't wait for that.
I've got a little something in there about Deion.
Can't wait for